Aloha, everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation. And my guest today is Helena Ribko. She is a psychotherapist, coach, and the founder of Thriving Mind Studios, a holistic gym for the mind, and also a speaker, of course. That really caught my attention. I know there's a lot more to you, Helena, in your bio. The full bio will be at the end. And that really caught my attention immediately when I saw holistic gym for your mind. I remember kind of really thinking that way when I used to do personal training that, we're just kind of concentrating in one part of our being and not exploring the entire person. So I'm so glad you're bringing this, to the light again. But we'll explore your topic. With the topic of the conversation is from survival to creation, how to heal your nervous system and design the life you're meant to live. So, before we dive into it, how would you introduce yourself? Who is Helena in this very moment?
In this very moment, I am a psychotherapist of more than 17 years of experience. I am coach, speaker, and a founder of Thriving Mind Studios. And I feel like this is really, my identity right now because I feel like I'm working thoroughly on this mission to bring mental fitness to the masses. Just like we have, physical fitness already being mainstream, right? So when people know that physical fitness is important, people are going to the gym, but not a lot is done for mental fitness. And mental fitness is the most important thing, right? So because you cannot even enjoy your physical health if your mind is dysregulated. And I just feel like our society is lacking this portion, and that we have so much wellness to be trained. And if people train their mental being, so much of their life can be elevated.
I know. It's
Mhm.
so true. One of the misconceptions I had about kind of working out, I used to work out so hard and compete and all those things because I wanted to feel better emotionally, psychologically. It was not, something was missing. It was so painful, the past traumas I have had. And
Mhm.
my coping mechanism was just working out. And
Yeah.
I have to say that helped for that period of time. Who knows what could have happened. So it helped me as a coping mechanism. But of course, it was not the solution. And I know a lot of people think that way. As long as it is kind of numbing the pain, distracting me from what I really need to look at it, then it's okay. But it doesn't go too far. My Helena was my case. It didn't. Yeah, it didn't last.
Yes, absolutely. One of my specialties in my private practice is actually eating disorder, disordered eating, and it can trickle down to disordered exercise, which a lot of people have, and it absolutely can be helpful to work out for mental health, right? But then sometimes people fall off that balance, and then they start becoming really dependent on it, and that is why it's important to treat ourselves and people holistically, right? So you want to come back to that balance, and you don't want your identity to be dependent on anything external, right? Because even such great thing as exercise can become something damaging, right? So you want your identity not depend on anything, and that way you can be more in charge of your life.
I love that. And I never heard it that way. My identity not being dependent on anything. Talk to me for a moment about that. What would that look like? Not, yeah.
So healthy identity does not depend on anything external, right? A lot of time in our society, we are trained to think that I'm going to be happy when I'm this many pounds. I'm going to be happy when I'm this rich. I'm going to be happy when I live in this neighborhood, or when I get a degree, or something else, something else. So we constantly are plugged into this unhappiness model, right? And we are chasing the result. And that's why a lot of times people actually start becoming more of the human doing, constantly pursuing that achievement, that result, thinking once I get there, then I'm going to be happy. But healthy identity looks like this. So even if you're not doing anything, even if you don't have anything, even if you're not your ideal weight, and even if you don't have friends, right? You still feel deep down that you're a good person. That feeling of feeling I am good no matter what, right? That is a good identity. And then anything that you do on top is just like a cherry on top, right?
Yeah, I
That
like that.
way, you don't depend on anything external, right? And you actually become more empowered, you right? You start acting
Mm,
more from your soul and from your heart,
right, right.
and not from the shoots that the society puts on you, that your mom and dad puts on you, that you know
Mm,
anybody else puts on you. So
mm,
so
mm.
in that kind of way, that everything external is always making the identity very fragile.
True.
So just like in your example, if you put so much emphasis onto working out and looking a certain way, anything can change in life, right? And
Mm,
so anything that can get broken there, then what happens with your identity? You start
mm,
falling apart,
mm.
right?
Yeah.
So the same thing, if somebody's pursuing money or even education, right? Something can happen to that external factor, and your identity is so dependent on it. So
Mm,
so a lot of times, it crashes. So we want to build healthy and strong identity, not depending on anything, and then start really listening to your heart and your soul about what is that you like to do, right?
Wow, it's so true. You said a lot there. There's a lot to cover. The question that comes to mind immediately is the idea of the soul, this concept. It's still a concept for a lot of people. So, from your perspective, what is the soul? What is, yeah, the heart, the soul, the spirit, even that we speak of?
Yes, and I'm going to go and answer this question in a little bit from the side, right?
Yeah.
Kind of tie it to my mission here. And my big mission is to help people regulate their mind, sort of control their mind, so that they can live from the soul. A lot of times, people are living in this automatic state, in the state of anxiety and negativity, and it's what it is. It's overreactive mind, it's sympathetic nervous system, it's fight or flight response. It's constantly living in the predictive state, trying to predict what's going to happen in the near future, right? Where things are repeating and we're just living from fear.
Right.
And my goal is to help a lot of people to know how to regulate that, how to control the mind in order to access the soul. And actually, I'm adding so many heart activating exercises in my practice,
Yeah.
um, right? Because it's like you starting to tune in more to the heart. You are developing more of the skill of tuning into the heart and the soul. And there is actually so much research nowadays from, particularly from Heart Math Institute. They've proven that this heart brain coherence is super important, and there is a way to develop it. So in my work, in my workshops, I have online membership. We constantly training the heart and right, to be coherent, because when the heart is regulated and balanced, it
Mm,
is sending the balance to the rest of the organs, to all of your blood, your fingers and your toes, and
yeah.
you start working as an organism in such a better manner. And what starts to happen is that people start learning who they really are, what inspires them, what makes them happy, and they start making steps in their life from that place versus from the place of the fear, which is right, fear and anxiety and
Mm.
shoulds and what the society is expecting of them. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like this work is really important because
Yeah.
this is the way to authenticity,
Right.
and
Right.
authenticity is our highest frequency. This is what I feel is the goal of every human should
Yeah.
be, is to learn who am I really all the way, so I can
Mm.
access my true gifts in life, right? So I can be truly helpful to everybody. And, that's where, people also start feeling more connected to each other, to the whole world, right?
Yeah. That all resonates with me wholeheartedly. The everything that you're saying about them addressing the mind, and then kind of becoming aware of the contents of the mind, and then you drop into the heart, and then you just kind of access the sense of connectivity with oneself.
Mhm.
The When you speak of the soul, the interesting thing for me has been that I was looking for something, like the soul would be something that I, like an entity inside of me that would guide me throughout life. And then the more work I do in the sense of accessing the mind and just paying attention and awareness and also noticing, it's just a space of that's very expansive, and it's almost like so empty that all possibilities, everything is possible in a sense. There's so much potential there for creativity. We can just become or kind of express ourselves in an unlimited way. Of course, we're not going to go with the limitations of the physical body, but there's a lot about um, the way we perceive life that can change everything. And to me has been about joy. So my way of accessing joy has been to be in that place and basically ignoring the mind a lot of times, whatever it says.
Absolutely.
I let it run and I just kind of ignore it. I think I go back to that expansive place. But easy
Mhm.
said than done, it is a practice. That's why professionals like you and beautiful people, guides out there that I meet them every day, incredibly beautiful people. They are just helping others, guiding them, almost like guiding babies. A lot of times I see you as a therapist
Mhm.
guiding people almost like children to return to themselves. So it's very helpful and beautiful work that you're doing. Thank you, Helena.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And yeah, what you said also resonates with me so much. It's true, because the mind, and especially the negative mind, uh, it's very limiting. So when you
Oh
accessing
yeah,
the heart space, the soul space, anything is absolutely possible,
mm,
right? So,
right.
and that is our biggest power, the fact that we can choose what we want to create in life. And that's why, mindset work is so important, right? For people to realize, wow, they've been living with all of these limiting beliefs, and these beliefs are not even theirs a lot of the times. And if you change your beliefs, you change your life, you change your feelings, you change your energy. There is just so much potential, and that is really where my passion comes from, for my work and for Thriving Mind Studios. Is that even with tiniest tools that I give people, they start elevating in life, right? They start upgrading.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and that's what I see in my online membership. I started an online membership where people learn, these mind and body techniques in a very, like easy, digestible way, in
Right.
little pieces, right? Not in big lectures.
Yeah.
And then they report the next week, the week after, oh my God, my relationships are changing. I'm feeling so much better. I'm having less anxiety. And that it was exactly my idea with Thriving Mind Studios, is that to give people these mini trainings
Yeah.
in mindset, in meditations, in different effective practices
Yeah.
that don't feel heavy. They don't feel like, oh my God, this is a psychological book that I need to read, right? And then, they start training towards the peace and not towards the anxiety, because we are constantly being trained towards anxiety in our society,
Um,
with news, with fears, with
yeah.
all kinds of stuff happening around us. But
True.
we are never trained towards the peace. And
Yeah.
that's why I bring my system, and we practice all of these wonderful practices and skills and techniques where people feel like, oh, wow, this is doable. This is easy. Like, oh, I can
Mm.
use this breathing technique, or I can use this 5-minute meditation, or I can use this somatic technique, right? And start using them in everyday life.
Yeah, that makes them more accessible too. I love the idea of simplicity. Yeah, there's something about that. And yeah,
Yeah.
it helps because the mind tends to make everything very complex. So
Hmm.
it's yeah, that approach really helps. So yeah, you mentioned creation. So that's exactly the topic of this episode. So from survival to creation, right? To
Hmm.
being accessing that place that we can just kind of live the life that we really want to live. And sometimes it is a design too. I get to understand that there's almost like a destiny behind each one of us. It feels that way. It's very
Hmm.
unique the way we express ourselves here.
Hmm.
But at the same time, very alike. I see from a lot of people that's basically most people that I meet, it's helping one another. It's almost like the purpose of life. It's helping each other. You feel does it resonate with you, this kind of common idea
Well,
of
I feel like when people are working on themselves, a lot of the times I see this pattern. At first, when people come in, they feel lost. They feel like they don't know who they are.
yeah.
Then they often feel guilty working on themselves, giving themselves love, right? They
Mm,
feel like working on themselves is selfish. And I
yeah,
usually tell them it's not. And
yeah.
why it's not selfish? Because eventually, when you're working on yourself, when you're finding who you really are, you're finding your heart and your soul, you
Mm,
actually realizing that you are one with others. And that is like,
mm,
I feel like the progression of healing, that more you healed, more you feel that you are everybody,
mm.
and
Yeah.
more you feel this
Oh,
acceptance
yeah,
towards even people who hurt you. This is where
yeah.
you're able to forgive people. This
Mm,
is where you're able to understand everyone. And you kind of get to this level of, even like I got to this level with my traumas,
yeah.
where you feel even grateful towards all of the traumas that happened to you, right? Because if I didn't have my road, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now, right? So in a way, I'm grateful towards even that. So I do feel that more you do the work on yourself, it's not selfish. Not only you start loving yourself, but you also start loving everybody, and you feel this connectedness to the whole world. And
Yeah.
that's why you start caring more about humanity as a whole, and trying to you know create more love and help people heal, for sure.
Yeah, that's it, Helena. Are the people that you work with, your clients, they're open to this idea of the soul and spirituality? Is that, yeah.
Well, I always kind of tread lightly in the beginning, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I kind of check it out what people believe in, because
Right.
for mental health, and it's generally um, not very good not to believe in anything, because when people
Mm,
don't believe in anything, that means they're carrying the weight of all of their stress on their shoulders. They often feel that whenever they are in a difficult situation, it's everything is up to them. So it's always helpful to believe in something, even if it's universe, even if it's karma, spirit, whatever it is. So I kind of in the beginning check out the client's beliefs, and if they're open to talk about spirit, soul, religion,
Yeah.
then we go there, but if they're
Right.
not, if it's okay. Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like that. It's this dance again. I call it the dance, right? Kind of checking, seeing the alignment, because we want to be kind of dancing to the same song, not out of rhythm with somebody else. For people like you, professionals like you, it's easier because you train to do that too, right? To listen and to kind of follow the flow of what's happening. It's somebody, a therapist recently, she described as like her office was this empty space, and then the client would be add the colors. He or she would
Mm,
add the furnishings in the place. That's the design, but the place was empty. Like there's almost like
hmm.
empty walls, and then they come and they decorate, they paint it. It was kind of interesting illustration
Mm,
of the work that you do, that you
yeah.
beautiful people do. So I want to go back to the topic and see,
Hmm.
like I mentioned to you off record, that I lost my notes,
Mm.
but you
No
sent it to me.
worries.
You had the outline, so it's kind of easy to follow here. So let me see the takeaways for listener. So the takeaways, key takeaways for the listeners for this episode: understanding why stress lives in both the body and the nervous system, not just the mind. So this is an interesting kind of statement. Okay, the body. So, what is the difference between the brain and the mind?
Hmm. The
Yeah,
mind, the brain is just an organ, right? And when we refer to it as mind, it's this organ in work, right? In yeah,
yeah,
in action.
yeah.
So
Right.
that's what mind is. Yeah.
Okay, and
Hmm.
because the body, the nervous system. So it's one. The body basically, it's all over the our body. The mind is not just in our brain, right? It's all, it operates everywhere. It runs because what is the
Well,
biggest?
w-
Yeah,
what the idea there is that a lot of times when we are trying to regulate the nervous system, um, we sometimes we start from the mind. So let's say if somebody's overwhelmed by their
yeah,
thoughts, right?
yeah.
If the thoughts are overwhelming and just running in their mind unstoppably, then we
Right.
might work with the mindset, and specifically maybe changing the thoughts. So sometimes, a lot of times, we start with the mind, but because we know stress doesn't only live in the mind, it
Mm,
resides in our body, right? We sometimes use somatic techniques to come back to this wonderful parasympathetic nervous system, which is where we rest and digest, right?
yes.
So that is why in my system I teach both mind and body techniques. And there is so much that can be done, right? From breathing to
Oh, yeah.
meditation to activation of the vagus nerve to just movement, right? So, gentle movement sometimes can help you get out of stress very quickly. Even certain positions of the body
Mm,
can help you get out of stress, right?
okay.
So, that is why, in my system, it's not just teaching mindfulness, it's not just teaching mindset, it's
Mm.
not just
Mm.
unraveling and looking at identity. It's all of that together and more.
I love
Mhm.
that. So it is, as you say, I was scrolling back to see here, the gym for your mind, right? It's a holistic gym for your mind. So it's not just training the physical body, but I mean, you're just training everything. It starts with the belief systems, it's more abstract with the mind and those ideas and memories, and then kind of
So the
let.
reason why, yeah, the reason why I compare it to the gym, like, and that's why when I say Thriving Mind Studios or like a gym for your mind, is because we have places where we train our body, like gyms, yoga
Yes.
studios, and stuff like that. And this is the same idea, but for the mind. So it's
Ah,
training and getting the skills, right? That will help you thrive in your life, that will help you be happy, right? So, for instance,
Mm,
one of the most important skills that I teach first is mindfulness skills. And mindfulness skills, they help you start getting control of your mind that is like running on automatic and on negative thoughts. So, and it's true, like even when we do tiny meditations, tiny trainings, people start saying, "Oh my God, I'm starting to feel so much better."
yeah.
So it's gym, not in the sense that we do workouts, it's gym in the sense that we come in and we practice all of these different mind and body techniques, from breathing to meditation to changing thoughts to adding positivity. And it's all skills, right?
Mm, yeah, of course. It's a
Hmm.
beautiful metaphor, though, because the gym we go and it's all about building strength and it's about growing, for those who want muscles that just grow.
Yes.
So that
Hmm.
makes sense, right, Helena? So growing, yeah, the inner growth, growing your inner, I say for me, my inner mother, my inner father, because I come from a family they were not there for me as a child.
Hmm.
So I had to
Yeah,
grow my own mother and father. So yes,
absolutely.
that's beautiful though. I wish.
Hmm.
Have you heard about the unmothered child?
Um, what do you
Unmothered.
mean?
Yeah,
Oh
without
yeah,
a mother.
absolutely. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. A
Yeah.
lot of times, the healing for a lot of people has to go that way, because I feel like in a way our life is designed to be messy in the beginning, so that we sort of start the journey to finding who we are and starting the journey to find love for ourselves. And the clients who have a lot of mother wounds and father wounds, often when they heal, they become so strong and so pivotal for a lot of other people's healing, because if you learn how to reparent yourself, I
Yes.
mean, you figured out life, right? Learning how to reparent yourself
Yeah.
is not easy,
No.
but this is ultimate, right?
Yeah.
Ultimate,
Yeah.
ultimate love that you can find in the world, right?
Yeah, thank you for saying that, for
Yeah.
that confirmation too. Yeah, it has been my path for healing. That was a very powerful path. Yes, becoming
Yes.
my own mother, my own father. And it's still ongoing because there are areas that's the self-compassion, right, Helena, comes in, that
Hmm.
because we don't want to kind of assume that we kind of got there as a destination. There's always something, to learn, something to grow more into it. And that has been my path too. I think is the heart path too. It's kind of interesting to notice.
Hmm.
It's spiritual, it's heartfelt, but also it's very in a sense is the ground that I stand on. It's like, I know
Absolutely.
what I can do to improve my life or improve myself or kind of go back to that place that is the soul. Yeah, that's
Yes.
expensive place.
And
So oh yeah, you're about to
and
say something.
and well, that in itself, the building positivity in your heart is in itself the skill, right? So like when I say the
Yes.
skill, again, it goes to that metaphor of the gym, right? So because we build skill when we don't know something, and then we repeatedly try it, and then we become good at it. Like if you think of a piano player, right? So like they
Right,
start from not knowing the notes, and then they practice, and
right,
then they are able to play the piano. The
right,
same thing in the gym, right? So like the first time you are doing squats, maybe you're not doing them correctly, and you don't have the muscles that you have that you're wanting, right? But
yeah,
after a while that you have the skill, that you're doing it consistently, then you have the strength and the muscles and the
mm,
knowing and feeling good about yourself, right? So
yeah,
in the same way, that is why I added to my system this portion that I call positivity architect,
mm,
because in our life we are so good at training our negative thoughts. We are so good at training ourselves, our critical self, right? All the shoots that we should be doing.
Right.
But when I start working with people on building positivity, that is a real skill, and it's really hard for a lot of people.
Right.
When I say, like, hey, let's start um, saying 5 things we're grateful for, even that can be hard for people. But if you think of all the positivity that we need to build in our heart, it is that compassion, self compassion. I often say self compassion is the antidote to judgment, self judgment,
Right.
right? Look, a lot of times people have hard day at work or whatever they're doing, something is difficult, and they're too easily, being hard on themselves.
Right.
Instead of saying,
Right.
you know what, it's hard for me right now. Just saying that, you know what, it's not easy for me right now.
Mm.
Ah, what do you feel? Right, your everything softens, your heart softens, your
Right.
your shoulders are softening, and
Mm.
that is
Mm.
a cure for not only your mind but your whole body. So that's why I put it in a separate category, and we constantly working on it. So it's a skill to start thinking and practicing that, right? You don't want to just say it, you want to start feeling it, feeling
Right.
it in your heart. And actually, that's when the heart brain coherence is the strongest. When
Mm.
you placing your attention on the heart and pairing it with feel good emotions like compassion, love, forgiveness, gratitude, and so many more, right?
I know. That's beautiful too. I mean, it just resonates. Everything has resonates true. I love your work and your dedication
Thank
to
you.
there's a lot of wisdom there too. I mean, timeless wisdom. We can apply this if we don't evolve as human beings for the next 500 years.
Mhm.
This can still be applied. Yeah, if we're still carrying the same brain structure.
Mhm.
Um, so let's see where do we go from here. Recognizing why do we feel stuck when do we know better? We know better not to. But that's the compassion piece that you speak of. That's so true.
Well, if I may, can I also add to this? And this is really why I wanted to start giving everybody these pieces, not only people who come to therapy, right? And unfortunately, in our society, we wait till something bad happens, right,
Mm,
to start working on ourselves. That's why I wanted to give these techniques and skills to um, for them to become like, this is normal way for
mhm.
me to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And because what happens, and what people don't realize, is that when we are when we are in a constant state of stress,
Yeah.
our brain operates on self-preservation.
Mm,
So, in other words, it's just trying
mhm.
to avoid the old fears, the old anxieties. So, no, even if you want to elevate your life and you are dreaming, you want to manifest, and you want to achieve your dreams and goals,
Yeah.
unfortunately, if you are in that stress state, you're uh, you're
Mm,
not going to go there, because when you are in this sympathetic nervous system,
yeah.
it's not built for upgrade. That's why you need to learn how to unplug from it. This is what I
Mm,
teach, and how to step into the system where you are the one who is holding the wheel. You are the one who is
mm,
deciding where you're driving,
mm.
right? And
Yeah.
you see this all the time. People
Yeah.
want to achieve things all the time, but they say, "Oh, you know what? Next year." Then, "Oh,
Yeah.
next year I'm going to do this. Oh, next year I'm
Yeah.
going to become more blah blah blah. Next year I'm going to
True.
find my love," right?
So true.
But I want to show people how they can actually unplug. There is mechanism of unplugging from this stress
Mhm.
mode, from this anxiety mode, and there is a way to start being a designer of your life where everything is possible.
I love that. And that's very insightful. I never heard that way about certain parts of our being, our nervous system is not made for upgrades. So it's not
Mm.
going to change. Wow. We just have to let go of it. Kind of, yeah, that's fascinating. I never thought of that way. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, when we are in sympathetic nervous system and when we are in the stress mode, which I would say it's like majority of population, uh,
Yeah.
it this is where healing is not possible on physical level,
Mhm.
learning is not possible, and manifesting is not possible, right? But when you learn how to get your body to rest and digest mode,
Mm.
that's where healing is possible, learning is possible,
Mm.
and designing is possible. That's more of that state of joy, like you're saying, joy
Yeah.
and play and freedom. And you are sort of
Mhm.
flowing, right? And then you're able to pick. Yeah, and you're able to pick what you think and what you want, and it's
Mm.
there's way more ease there.
Oh my God, Helena. Yes. Thank you for making that connection too between joy and flow, because I usually do that too. I can't talk about joy or can explain what it is without that sense of flowing, kind of surrendering, being in the moment, and just kind of breathing and going almost like going with the wind of life, being present with what is present, not trying to push away anything or resist with fear to anything. So,
Mm-hmm.
so thank you for saying that too, because it's something that's not easy to explain a lot of times. What is joy? And then, everybody has a different perspective, but that usually when I ask the question, and to my own self too, that comes immediately. It's being here present, it's flowing with life, not resisting life. It's allowing it to happen. So thank you for that
Mm-hmm.
confirmation again. So
Excellent.
the other takeaway, I learned that you are not broken, that you are simply dysregulated and untrained. Yeah, that's why the gym metaphor, because that's a training place. Being in that facility is about training. So, yeah, the idea of being broken really doesn't help, right, Helena? A lot of times to think that way, that you are broken. Although some therapists, they believe that that's necessary sometimes to know that your car is broken so you can fix it. So it's
Ah.
important to know. But talk to me about that.
It's good to know that it's broken. You're right. Knowing is already awareness. Everything
Right.
starts with awareness. My thing, my idea is always that no matter how broken you are, you can always fix it up, and you can always maybe even get a new car.
Yes, that's right. I
But
like that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the idea is,
Hmm.
the thing is, most people, unfortunately, when they don't do this work, right? Um, if something is broken, they just walk their whole life saying,
Ah,
I'm broken, and seeing their life this way, right? Um,
mm,
my, I love that. I'm not just saying this because I'm a therapist and I went to school and I've helped a lot of people.
yeah.
I do everything from what I've experienced, right? Myself, as I'm a multiple trauma survivor. I moved here to United States at the age of 20 by myself, and
Yeah.
I've these are just some stories, but I've rebuilt myself so many times from scratch,
Mm,
right? Where, like, literally from scratch. And when you do that, you learn from the inside out how it's done, right? When you're rebuilding your identity, when you're rebuilding who you are and your happiness, and each time, you know what, I've I feel like I've cracked the code of upgrading in life. And that is what I'm teaching people. So doesn't matter if you're broken. Now you can look at all of the broken pieces and be thankful towards them. And I feel like when you are healing or healed, right, you start realizing that even bad things, things that we don't prefer when they happen to you,
Mm.
you should just look at them as a gift,
Yeah.
right? Because it is, all of these things are lessons. All of these things are teaching you something, molding you into something.
True.
And that is a really good reframe to have on anything that's happening, right? So
Mm.
more we can get out of the victim mode and step into the survivor mode,
Yeah.
that's where more power lies. So if people are holding on to their wounds and from this victim mentality, they are unfortunately giving their power away.
Mm.
And once you reframe it that this happened to you so you can become stronger, you own it, right? You just start, looking at life and at yourself with a whole different um, sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a very, it seems to me like a very, it's almost like I use the word helpful because it is helpful. Everything is helpful. Seeing as a gift. For some reason, I don't see it as a gift. Because all the traumas that I went through, I'm like, oh my God, no, this, no. And I heard people saying, you
Yeah.
became who you are because of all these things that you went through. And I heard
Mhm.
that so many times, but never resonated. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I actually am not really don't see it as a gift, but I tend to see it as something that I had no, it's a choiceless choice. So whatever happened, even in this moment, whatever's happening here, I only have these tools to kind of deal with it or kind of make my next decision. So I am now what I will be in the next moment. So I
Mm.
can't really, I cannot change anything. I couldn't change it anyway. So it feels like, it feels better for me in a sense, for me to kind of think that maybe, okay, that came from ignorance in a sense of not knowing. I didn't know. My parents didn't know. People who hurt me
Mm.
didn't know. And that's okay.
Mhm.
So now what can I do to kind of change that, to become more aware of the hurt, also the damage, and how do I, it's kind of beyond fixing. In a sense, it's almost like realigning, almost like looking at it with so much compassion and love that it goes back to that soul, that soul spaceless space where everything's possible again. So seeing everything as a new, with new eyes, with a new perspective. But I don't know why, Helen. I still don't see it as a gift that I was hurt, that was abused. That, yeah.
Well, maybe we should talk off the camera about this, but it's a process, right? So healing from traumas is a process, and it's like it's. I feel like it just goes in a spiral, right? So like you might go and like heal in one way, and then you realize, wow, there is another layer and another layer,
Yes.
and I'm
Yes.
so grateful that you already got to this point where you're realizing what is working for you right now. So
Mhm.
many people don't get to that grateful point. That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Yes, but you can get close to it, right? And
Mhm.
just knowing that one day traumas can have no hold of you, right? That is a good hope to have in the front, but it's more we go towards healing, more we have tools, right? And more we have the reassurance that even if I fall back into the triggers, I can
Mm.
quickly come out of them, right?
Yeah.
And that is again that skill that you practicing more and more, right? And then you don't get lost in the triggers after a while. It becomes easier, and more often you staying in the state of joy, in the state of safety, right? So it's all of these little tools that help you with that. And with trauma
Yeah.
work, a lot of times we are rewriting the trauma, right? And what's
Mm.
interesting is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
lately, there's been research that they showed that. each time you remember something in a different way, it gets saved in your mind this last way. So each
Uh,
time we're rewriting the trauma,
mm,
it kind of gets saved in our brain in a different way.
mm,
And the way I love working with my clients, of course, I mean, this is like a 20-day conversation probably in
yeah.
itself. Um, but a lot of times we want to rewrite it from the sense of empowerment, right? A lot of
Yeah.
times in the trauma, it felt like you didn't have support, or nothing was helping you. But then you can rewrite it in a way that it was what were the things that were supporting you, for instance.
Yeah.
Who were the people who helped you not get worse, for instance? Who were the people who saw you as a beautiful soul? That some A lot of times when I'm working with people who grew up with in terrible trauma, there would
Yeah.
be like a neighbor, a grandma, or somebody who was just like looking at them with different eyes, and
Right.
that helped the person to survive, right? That helped the person to pursue their heart and soul and not give in to all of the negativity.
Mm.
So yeah, there are so many things that so many angles from which this can be worked at and get better. But I'm so glad you are finding your ways, and that is the beauty of things, right? That everybody's finding their ways to
Mm.
feel better and find that road towards their peace and safety and joy.
Mm. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thank you for that. I know you almost like said, "Oh, she needs therapy." Let's talk off record.
Oh no.
Everybody needs therapy. But yeah, there's something about I'm a student of Advaita Vedanta, which is a Hindu method of ending suffering. So, because
Mhm.
my question was, why do people hurt each other like so badly? Even
Mm.
the innocent. I mean, they hurt the planet, they hurt the children, the animals. Oh, it doesn't make any sense. So, I
Yes.
wanted to understand why. I had that question in my entire life. And then finally,
Uh-huh.
where I am now is that no, I'm not grateful for the ignorance. That ignorance, not in a pejorative way, in a negative way, but in a very true way, that not knowing oneself, not knowing who you are leads to suffering, leads to
Mhm.
destruction, leads to disconnection, leads to all kinds of darkness. So that's the light that really illumines everything. It's basically knowing what you are. That has been my journey, my path. It's a spiritual one, which kind of it aligns very much with psychology because I've done a lot of the work of psychological work, and I talk to so many people, and I study a lot, and I see how connected it is. Like, wait a minute, it is the study of it is knowing oneself. So you know the content of your mind, and then for my kind of practices, it comes to the point of wait a minute, I know what I am beyond who I am. And now that makes this, your body, mind, a lot more connected to everyone and everything to the point of not creating more pain, not hurting others, not hurting animals, not hurting the innocent. So that's what I feel it's necessary that we return to ourselves. Like, know that you're not the mind with all the trauma, you're not the memories, you're none of that. The body, you're not the body because it is going to go, but you are
Mhm.
something that's always here and is always aware of everything. As long as you're aware of something, you're not that something. So that's where my practices they come from. Is there's kind of it's a Vedantic kind of perspective, so has been very helpful going back to that word. But in so the work of that you do, I mean, incredibly helpful again and beautiful in a sense of guiding those who are still kind of. I'm just hearing my voice back as an echo. I apologize.
Oh yeah, no
I hear
worries.
my own.
That,
So you're helping them to kind of realize that step by step. Maybe you need to train the mind. Maybe you have to control some of the negativities to the point of maybe that's not for everyone, to the point of realize that you're not the mind, the thoughts, the memories all together. And then that can change everything. And the same time remains the same because you still see everything, but you know you're not that thing. So that's where I come from with my perspective, which still aligns very
Mhm.
much with psychology. It's just fascinating to see it.
Oh, absolutely. And I love studying all kinds of different, perspectives. So, and the ones that you see in every um, discipline,
Yeah.
that they're true, right? So
Oh, yeah.
that's what we start seeing more and more, how all of the sciences kind of cross over, and you seeing the truth everywhere, right? So like in psychology, in even in quantum physics,
Yeah.
in so many different disciplines, when you see the same message, you kind of start
Yes.
thinking, yeah, this must be really true if it's showing up everywhere, right?
Right.
Um,
That's it. Yeah.
yeah. And you absolutely right. The suffering comes from not knowing, right? So even when,
Yeah.
like if you think of a human psyche more of like parts, right? There are
Mm,
different parts of ourselves. So
yes.
it's funny how when humans don't like something in somebody, it is
Mm,
actually a part of themselves that they don't want to look at, right?
right.
So that kind of
Mm,
answers your
mhm.
question. When they want to hurt the other person, right?
Yes.
It's actually part of themselves that they are not
Mm,
accepting yet, right? They
mm,
need to do that work. Because if you know all parts of yourself and you
mm,
accept them and you love them, then
mm.
you would not want to hurt anybody. You would feel this connectedness, you would
Mm,
feel the love towards everybody.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, beautiful. Thank you for bringing back to psychology, right? Psychology language. Yeah, parts works. Yeah. Then
Mhm.
is that IFS? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Thank you, Helena. That's it. Yeah. So it's basically all parts we call the universe, all these multiplicity of things. It's like coming from one substance. So it's very clear to me, and there's one essence that holds all this together. So yeah,
Mm.
by hurting one part, you're hurting the whole. You're hurting everything. So
Mm.
yes. Gosh, there's so
Yeah,
much.
and
We
that's
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're about to say
no.
something.
I was just gonna tie it all together by saying that is
Yeah.
why we do this work to to help others start working on themselves and start going towards self love, so that so more people dive into this work and finding out who they really are, and start being authentic to themselves and start feeling more connected to others as well.
That's it. Yeah. And the way
Hmm.
you beautiful people do it is like step by step because you meet each person where they are. So that's very important. Like I could never do this work because I would tell everybody, oh, you already are what you're looking for. You're already perfect. That will never work.
Right.
Most people say, wait a minute, why did I come here for? So yes, so I love the work of psychologists. I often say that therapists are like best friends. They really are. They're like meeting your best
Mm.
friend. They just, they guide you to yourself, to home again. It's just, I have a lot of devotion for the work that
Oh,
you
good.
do and all these people that I interview, coaches too. I know there's a difference between coaching and therapy and even
Hmm.
consulting. It's all different, but we
Hmm.
all trying to do the same thing, guide people to their own selves. Yeah. Thank you.
Hmm.
So we are at the end of the conversation. I want to mention your website again. It's thrivingmindstudios.com. And you all everything that you have disclosed here, your beautiful work has can be found on your website. And I had some of the notes here, but I don't have them here in front of me now. Is there anything that you'd like to disclose about your services, Helena, at the
I
end?
would love to, yes. So in Thriving Mind Studios, I currently hold workshops in person and online. And I have a beautiful community if anybody wants to join, because I see such a need of people constantly working on themselves, right? And it's an online membership, and it's extremely good value because we're meeting each Friday for 30 minutes,
Mm,
and we working on all of these things that I was talking about. So meditation, mindset work, stepping into the higher self, which is a big part of my work.
yeah.
Manifesting from a psychology standpoint, and all of this stuff, because the reason why we do it every week is that you don't fall into that automatic
Mm,
anxiety state, because
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
inevitable. We do fall back into it, we do get plugged in, but
So true.
this continuous work
Mm,
helps it gets helps you to get stronger, and helps you really each time to become a little bit closer to your
mm,
higher self. And higher self is that version of you without those negative beliefs, without those limiting ideas about yourself. So you
yeah.
can step towards that version of yourself with where you're more authentic, and
Mm,
you are living from heart and from soul. So that is a wonderful way to join and to start this work and just try it out, right? Because it's, a lovely community of people, and also all of the sessions are saved, and my clients love like re-listening to certain meditations, certain
mm,
sessions.
yeah.
So, and there is support, there is feed where we're talking and supporting each other and inspiring each other.
Yeah.
And I also love doing the corporate wellness work
Mm,
and trainings for companies. I recently did a training for women veterans.
mm,
So, did a workshop series for them to step into higher self versions of themselves.
amazing.
So, I just love all of these different um, frameworks that appear, and of course retreats and
Mm,
on online trainings as well.
yes, wonderful.
Mhm.
Thank you so much again for your presence in our shared reality, for your beautiful intention, and for all the work that you put into it. I know it's a lot of work. It's not easy, but you're there for everyone. So thank you so much again.
Thank you so much for having me, and so
Thank
nice
you,
to meet
Helena.
you.
And we'll talk soon. Bye for now. Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you. Bye bye.